Unit 2 Vocabulary. Before you complete the Ed Puzzle, please take out your notes from class, the in-context activity. Listen to the pronunciation and definition of each of the words. Answer the Ed Puzzle questions as you watch the video. Acclimate. Verb. In order to get acclimated to wearing heavy equipment and exercising, football coaches are required to gradually introduce the equipment to their football players. Why would a student need to get acclimated with the new building? A, so they can write it on their resume. B, so they know the easiest and quickest ways to get to class. Alienate. Verb. When Dakota gets uncomfortable, she alienates herself from her classmates. She feels she is able to be herself when she is alone. A person might be alienated because they share different beliefs, they agree with the crowd. Coerce or coercion. My parents coerced me into going to my sister's play by telling me I would have my phone taken away if I wasn't there. The police received a confession from the suspect, but only through coercion. Once the case reached a court, it was thrown out because the suspect was forced to confess. The closest definition of coerce is to make a choice, to persuade by force, or to pretend. Please note in the picture here the way that the gentleman is pointing his finger at the other gentleman. And if you don't notice, here I'm going to point out to you, he is being handcuffed here. That might give you a clue. Commend. Valerie was commended for starting the Benevolent Association at school. She not only received positive recognition, but she was also awarded scholarship money from colleges for all of her hard work. You would be commended for doing what is expected of you, volunteering your time at a soup kitchen, or cheating on a test. Deride. We are taught from a young age that it is unacceptable to deride or ridicule someone simply because they look different than we do. A synonym for the word deride is encourage, ridicule, or smile. Divulge. Margie divulged her sister's birth announcement to her family before Margie was able to tell them herself. Needless to say, the two sisters were not on good terms for a while. What is something private you would not want to divulge? A, your name. B, your social security number. C, your favorite color. Exult. The graduating class of 2017 threw their caps and exulted as soon as the principal announced, "Congratulations, class of 2017, you did it." How does the picture illustrate the word exult? The men are jumping on one another and shouting cheers of celebration. Or B, the men are clenching their fists with anger and resentment. Flaunt. In Beauty and the Beast, Gaston is haughty and tries to flaunt his good looks to Belle. Despite his persistent efforts, he is unsuccessful in trying to show off to her. What are you more likely to flaunt? A mediocre test grade, passing your driver's test. Gape. The graphic images of car accidents shown in driver's education usually cause the students to gape at the photos in sheer terror. In the example sentence, the students looked at their photos and rolled their eyes because they thought they were boring and unrealistic, or they stared at with an open mouth because they were shocked with horror. Garble. Because he is typically diffident around people he doesn't know, well, Rob garbled the rest of his story as soon as his crush walked into the room. His jumbled words matched the embarrassment written all over his face. 10. An antonym, or the opposite for garble, is to confuse words, to make things clear. Remember, you're choosing the opposite of what the word means. Implore. Johnny was so desperate to get Nicole back, he implored her to forgive him in front of the entire student body. He didn't care if everyone watched him beg like a little puppy, so long as she forgave him. You would implore your parents to give you more chores, let your siblings use your car, Extend your curfew. Infuriate. Sophia and Cecilia become infuriated when they finish their bottles and they are still hungry. Both of their faces turn bright red from anger and they scream for more. The Hulk is infuriated when he is provoked by something or he is content with his surroundings. Mortify. Shelby bent over to get her textbooks and ripped her pants right down the seam. She was so mortified she ran out of the classroom and hid in the bathroom for the rest of the period. If you were mortified, would you raise your hand to volunteer or sink down in your seat and try to hide? Ruminate. After Delia got home from school, she took a long walk around her neighborhood to ruminate about the events of her day. She needed time to clear her head and think deeply about all of the things she needed to do over the next few weeks. What is something you would need to ruminate about? Where your next class is? What you want to do after you graduate high school? Skulk. The malevolent thief skulked around the dark alley waiting for helpless victims to come close so he could rob them of their valuables. He crept around so carefully his shadow could barely be noticed. 15. Which animal is more likely to skulk? A skunk or a dog? And that's the end of the slideshow for the week. Please remember, go back, ask questions. You can review the Edpuzzle as many times as you'd like.